Testing, testing, one, two, testing, testing.
I'm a little loud over here.
Oh, we are actually live, y'all.
We are live. Want to go and say good afternoon to all of Baltimore and everybody in the surrounding area as we welcome you to the Circle of Mayat at TNAT Wellness Center. That's the Temple of New African Thought, where you can get all your Pan-African needs. I was expecting there to be some music in the background, but look, we just gonna keep it 100%. Look, I could play also.
Y'all
you know,
so talented that
So actually, let's start this circle of Maya out today with bringing in the ancestors with some drums. You know, it's something about the rhythm of the drums that definitely invokes some spirit, and you know, I'm appreciative of that. So we're gonna start out with a drum call. No further ado, and Dooley Parish is gonna kick us off. I feel the ancestors in the room. Let's honor those ancestors now with some libations.
Welcome
followed by Didi Faluke.
Welcome, everyone. It's very good to see our Queen Elder in the house, Mama Ndanu,
Ashe.
and second Queen of the house, Chef Camille.
Ashe.
And we want to continue to lift her family up in Jamaica and all other people of Cuba and the surrounding Caribbean area.
Ashe, ashe.
Our love and our light is with you. So I wish Baba Rose was here because he does such a beautiful libation historically, but I'm going to do the best I can. So we first want to honor those who were dispersed throughout the world. Some call them the last tribe, but we know that they are our ancestors. Those that settled were taken to North America, South America, Central America, and all throughout the globe. So we want to acknowledge them. And so I acknowledge those that were snatched and kidnapped from our continent, Africa, and dispersed all throughout the earth in the process of what they call slavery. I want to remember them, their families, as individuals, as fathers, as mothers, as children. We send you love and we send you light. Ashe?
Ashe.
Ashe.
And then I want to acknowledge and remember those who made this country as successful as it was by their blood, by their sweat, by the terror that they had to face every day. And I don't want to focus on the horrible things that happen, but I'd like to focus on their staying power and how they overcame such adversity. So we lift up those ancestors that survived the Mid Atlantic Passage and plantation living. Ashe.
Ashe.
Sure.
And then we want to lift up those who were very active during the Harlem Renaissance. And even though just generations their families came out of slavery, they were brilliant minds, inventors, writers, intellectuals, artists, educators, doctors. I want to lift them up, those that paved the way for many of our parents and grandparents and how they paved the way for us. Ashe?
Sure.
And then I'd like to lift up those who participated not only in the civil rights movement, but in the Black liberation movement, those who awakened us to the consciousness that we are African. And whether anybody else agrees with that, it doesn't matter. As long as we're defining ourselves and we know who we are. I want to
Sure.
lift up, and you can call some names if you like, Kwame Nkrumah.
Ashe.
I want to
Sure.
lift up Patrice Lumumba.
Ashe.
Welcome back.
I'd like to lift up, yes, Thomas
Ashe.
Sankara. I'd like to, Ashe.
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 I'd be well.
Ashe.
Nina
Ashe.
Singa. Nanny of the Maroons.
Ashe.
Carter G. Woodson.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Benjamin Banneker.
Ashe.
Ashe. And all those names that we know that we haven't called, as well as Nat
Ashe.
Turner.
Frederick Douglass.
Ashe.
Ashe. And then we like to acknowledge our family ancestors, our great grandparents, and those that go all the way back to their origin. And you may call their names now.
As well.
Ashe.
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 Leonard White.
Pauline Johnson.
Ashe.
Lily Johnson. Ashe.
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 Wesley White.
Ashe.
Preston Winkler and Eva Winkler.
And all
Matt
those that
Conley
are
Green.
connected to us from our father's house and our mother's house, we honor you today and we send you light and love. Asheo.
Always appreciate pouring libations. I think it's such a beautiful ceremony, ritual, depending on how you. What's the right term? Ritual, ceremony?
They both work.
Both work.
Both.
So, I'd like to share. Absolutely, please.
Just a little bit of nostalgia.
Mama and Danu. Can I give you a proper introduction? Okay. Mama and Danu in the building. I need you to feel this love.
Ashe.
Was looking through some old notes and things last night, and saw a little bit of nostalgia for the African village.
Okay.
A song that was sung, recorded by Nina Simone, and Dr. Ray Higgins added a chorus that makes it even more outstanding.
Okay.
So I just like to try to cover it in my own little way. Okay. I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all the chains that's holding me. I wish I could say all the things I want to say. I'd say them loud, I'd say them clear, so the whole world could hear. Knowledge of the truth will make us free. That's how Africans ought to be. Walking every day with right knowledge in our minds. Knowledge of the truth will make us free. That's how Africans ought to be.
Ashe.
Living every day in the power of our minds. I wish I could share all the love that's in my heart. I'd remove all those things that keep us apart.
Mhm.
I wish I could know what it means to be free. And you'd see and you'd agree. Every African should be free. I wish I could live like I want to live. I wish I could give all the things that I can give. I wish we could do all the things that we can do. I know it's long overdue, but we'd be starting anew. Knowledge of the truth will make us free. That's how Africans ought to be. Walking every day with right knowledge in our minds. Knowledge of the truth will make us free. That's how Africans ought to be. Living every day in the power of our minds. I wish I could fly like a bird up in the sky. Oh, how sweet it would be if I found out I could fly. I would soar up to the sun and look down at the sea. Then I'd sing because I'd know what it feels like to be free. Knowledge of the truth will make us free. That's how Africans ought to be. Walking every day with right knowledge on our minds. Knowledge of the truth will make us free. That's how Africans ought to be. Living every day in the power of black minds. Hey, we gotta be free. You and me, yeah, we must be free. Africa and Africans must be free. Hey, we're gonna be free.
We're gonna be free.
You and me, oh, we must be free. Africa and Africans must be free. We're gonna be free.
Be free.
You and me, oh, we must be free. Africa and Africans must be free. We're gonna know how it feels to be free. Africa and Africans must be free. Asante Sana.
Ashe. I was I come across that every now and again, Mama Ndanu. I remember, I don't know what is, maybe it's a recording we have or something, and where you kind of like, I guess you kind of like said, I'm gonna give an honor. I'm gonna. You surprised me kind of with the song. I remember you kind of practiced it and did things like that. So that's one of my. She said he said it's one of his favorite songs. That is definitely one of my favorite songs from the African Village. So thank you again for blessing us, Mama.
You had given me a recording of Dr.
Oh,
Hagen's
yeah,
doing it.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
couldn't find it this time. So I said, hey, I can cover it too.
Yeah. Well, it was there, but you gave me some more information. I didn't know it was like a chorus added to Nina Simone's.
Oh, yeah.
What song is it?
That's what I wish I could be free.
Okay, but she sings with a different tempo, right? If I'm using the right term.
Yeah, well, you
I
know,
wish I.
I wish.
Yeah,
I
she
could. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, you know she's strong.
Yeah, she's strong and
aggressive
she a
with her.
drag. Yeah, gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
But you can pull it up on YouTube still.
Yeah.
Her version.
Yeah, I know the song now. I listened to her. I just didn't.
Oh.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me share that.
Thank you
Okay.
for sharing it.
Thanks for blessing us.
So I wanted to continue with the musical interludes and I'll maybe do a collective Bob Marley rendition of No Woman, No Cry. I was going to start it out on the guitar and you pull up the lyrics, you could karaoke it, and just bring in the ancestors continuously, enjoy, and take part in such a beautiful day and a beautiful ceremony. I really appreciate everybody. I'm going to start it off. No Woman, No Cry. I remember when we used to sing in a
I'm observing the hypocrites, yeah. Mingle with the good people we meet. Good friends we had, oh, good friends we've lost along the way. Can't forget your past. Dry your tears and say,
oh, woman, no cry. No
woman, no cry.
no
No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry.
Said I remember when we used to sit in a government yard in Trenchtown, observing the hypocrites, mingling with the good people we made. Good friends we had, or good friends we've lost along the way. Said,
You can't forget your past, no.
Yeah. No woman no cry. Everybody.
No woman no cry.
Again.
No woman no cry. No woman no cry.
Everything's gonna be alright.
Everything's gonna be alright.
Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Yeah. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. No woman no cry.
No woman no cry.
That's a real good. One more time. Everything gonna be alright.
Everything's gonna be alright. To Jamaica.
Everything's
gonna be alright. To Haiti. Everything's gonna be alright. 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 No man no cry.
There's no
No woman no cry.
Ashe. Oh.
I appreciate y'all. I feel like we brought it in good. So I feel very comfortable in saying, are we going to do the ode to the ancestors?
The libation service.
Okay, no worries. Just want to make sure I'm covering all my bases. Okay. So with no further ado, I want to start the discussion by introducing Dr. Asar Winkler.
So Ashe. So now introduce me.
Dr. Asar Winkler!
No, introduce me.
I think I just did introduce you. Did I not introduce
Somebody tell them what I'm saying.
I apologize.
No, I just thought it was funny. But thank you.
Look, I'm doing what I can.
Hey, give everybody a round of applause.
I think everybody
give
did
Brother
a great job. I
Ferb
think everybody
for being a round of applause for bringing the energy, for bringing in the spirit, for bringing the collaboration together. Ashe. Thanks for the mamas for bringing it together. And I appreciate everybody, and I appreciate the Caribbean, specifically Jamaican contribution. As my dear wife, she is, those words. These are the words I said to her yesterday. Everything's going to be all right. She has a way of showing her feelings, quite Jamaican-like, but but she is necessarily pondering some things as the hurricane has hit down, and family members and all those type of things. So keep her in thoughts, prayers. Yeah. Oh, you want the mic? So she said any donations will be fine. She had that some of her families, like their houses were destroyed and roof and things of that nature. But they did have, from what I know now, I'm not sure, the shelter. They did have shelter in another house with a more concrete type roof and all that type of thing. So we send prayers to all those touched by the storm. In that, I think we should at TNAT prepare for those type of things, and also those things that that are happening right now here in this country as well. I would say let's ask you not to become so fearful, but just kind of jump in the mode. How do we support one another in these times? Because there's nothing that we can't do together. And we have seen times before, quite like the times we're under. But nonetheless, I trust that if we come together, there's nothing we cannot do. Ashe?
Ashe.
So today, we plan to visit a new topic, and the topic is what is it? Is African spirituality, part 1. It's more specifically, we're going to be going into the Book of Ptahhotep, one of my favorite books from our ancient ancestors, ancient African ancestors out of Kemet, aka Egypt, ancient Egypt. And what I want to do is start off like this. May I ask my elders for permission to speak? They said forward on to speak. Ashe. So I'll start by saying, I walk in my yacht with balance, truth, and divine alignment. I rise with discipline. I heal with courage. I give my gifts to the community. Ancestors walk with me, rise in me, and divine guide me. Ashe, 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 oh. So, again, African spirituality, we've been talking about religion and spirituality, and I wanted to set up the conversation today. And I kind of want to preface this conversation with some things we spoke about prior. And one of the main things is, what is African spirituality? What does that look like? And I want to be clear that when I say things, I'm not necessarily coming off of just purely from my own framework. That's why I say Njia is a collective framework. And I'll read this. This section is coming out of Hosea. We're going to be reading the Hosea. We're going to be reading the Book of Ptahhotep, and we'll see how far we go in it today. The Teachings of Ptahhotep, the oldest book in the world, by Asa G. Hilliard and Larry Williams and Nia Damali, the editors. But I wanted to go into the Hosea because I like how Dr. Malana Karenga actually describes the books in this section of the Hosea called the Books of Wise Instruction, which the Book of Ptahhotep is one of them. And I'll read it and I'll tell you what I'm pulling off of as I conceptualize Njia and spirituality as it pertains to us as African people today. So it says the Books of Wise Instruction, certainly one of the most important and well-written kinds of sacred literature of ancient Egypt, are the Books of Wise Instruction. Although some traditional Egyptologists would argue that the instructions are more secular than sacred, evidence does not support such a contention. One assumes they came to this conclusion because the instructions offer explicit life lessons of how to conduct oneself alone and with others. However, if that is their main argument, and it seems to be from all readings, then they would have to rule out the Book of Proverbs as secular. For not only does it contain similar instructions, but also it was based on the ancient Egyptian model and borrowed whole passages from the Book of Amenemope. The Books of Wise Instruction are as sacred as any of the other books of the Hosea, for the main focus is on Mayat and moral and spiritual obligation each person has in preserving and practicing it in and for the community. Thus, Thus, each person, not just the Pharaoh, was urged to preserve and practice Mayat, for he or she was judged by it and not granted long life on earth as well as eternal life in a menta, aka paradise, or death and non-existence based on this. Therefore, Ptahhotep says, Mayat is great, its value is lasting, and it has remained unchanged and unequaled since the time of its creator. It is, he continues, a plain path even for the ignorant, and those who violate its laws are punished. Thus he urges moral excellence in all one does, so no fault can be found in your character. Likewise, Kedi tells his son Mikare that righteousness is fitting for a ruler, and that he should do that which is right, that you may live long on the earth. For more acceptable is the bread of the righteous than the ox of those who do evil. Clearly, then, Mayat, the quintessential moral and spiritual concept of ancient Egypt sacred literature, forms core focus of the instructions, even though some rather secular situations and solutions are posed. Moreover, given the inseparable link in ancient Egypt and other parts of Africa between the sacred and the secular, the attempt to separate them make little sense and meets with even less success. Thus, the sages teach their children and the people to think Mayat, speak Mayat, and do Mayat in secular and sacred situations. For this will not only ensure a mutually beneficial community based on Mayat, but also everlasting life. Ashe. Now tell me what y'all heard there, because that was a lot.
So there are a couple of things I heard there.
And specifically tying it back to some of the things that we talked about in Njia.
Okay, so let me first mention some of the things that I heard. So one of the things that stood out to me was that they were mentioning that some of the base of other religions were actually taken from whole passages of teachings that also teach Mayat, and that it's actually teaching the same principles, and that Mayat is pretty balanced even throughout that. I mean, it is balanced. And then I also see in some of the other conversations we were having, just as it pertains to Njia, that African sovereignty, like choosing what works for you, is important. From African spirituality and practices and teachings, as long as you can like make it make sense for your life, for where you are. And it seems like part of what is being mentioned is that Mayat covers the basis for some other religious systems. So if your worry is functioning within the system to not break rules by practicing Mayat, you actually do that if like that's where your moral compass is. And I'm gonna pause there.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and I like, well, specifically what stood out to me at the end was this: if you are afraid to, I don't know what the afraid was alluding to, but I do know there's been many conversations of, so if I stop practicing this, what do we have? And it's like said in this very fearful way. And I'm like, African culture is inclusive of all of it. There's nothing that these religions, you can practice them, that's not a problem. But I'm saying that there's nothing that our culture doesn't already have that is sufficient. In fact, there's no separation. So the fear is not necessarily that we don't have, because we have it, and it's in abundance. You have a whole continent you can choose from. And it's all intertwined in this culture. your spiritual system and your way of living is not separated. In fact, that's what I kind of argue in Njia. You about to say something, Paris? I saw you said, I argue in Njia is that I forgot. I saw your
Yeah, but I can I mention something you said? I think that you said something really important just now. The spiritual system and the way of living is not separate, right? Because in an ideal situation, the religion is supposed to give you the rules for how you're supposed to live anyway, right?
Mhm.
But if you're already living by the moral standard or the rules, like the religion is nothing more than uh, it's a guideline, but you may not need those guide rails. So
Yeah. Okay, not that much difficulty there. So in reference to our personal group, I had actually made a statement that kind of goes along with what you said, and it was dealing with the psychology of people in different cultures and how it's influenced and by the religion that they follow. So to piggyback on what Brother First said, also what you said too on human behavior and I feel like a lot of the fear that's in these religions kind of forces people because out of ignorance people take the stories to be literal, and I think that's a big part of the problem too. And it's because once they lose that paradigm of being, they fear that they're either face the consequence of their actions because of the religion that they follow, or they're just lost. They have nothing to really hold them here. You know what I'm saying? So that creates a whole nother dynamic of someone being stripped away of something that could be honestly keeping them here. Because some people depend on some of these systems that aren't mentally stable. And if you take that away from them, to those group of people, it's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just lost. And I'm just full of just fear and ignorance. So I think, in my opinion, the first thing that should be established, even before kind of like subscribing to some of these practices or religions, is to identify that this is a story. It's not, me personally, that it's not meant to be taken literally, because when you take things like literally, it kind of alters your perception of reality, and things that are logical do not seem logical to you because you're using this book as a means of, well, I'm not going to pay attention to this even though it's true because the book that I'm following which is a part of my paradigm tells me this, and this is what's keeping me safe and keeping me mentally here and able to function in what I'm in, if that makes any sense. So
yeah, you said a lot.
yeah.
Which part?
Oh
But yeah, I think I track you.
okay, so I wasn't going with
But I heard that whenever we're approaching my art, there has to be a level of integrity. And I think the integrity is the thread that kind of unifies us, because we know right from wrong. Integrity is never here, there, everywhere. There's a consistent line with integrity. And I would agree with what you said about something just being a story, but many of those stories are very applicable to life. People commit adultery, people steal, people kill. And so they are examples of what human beings do at their lowest point, or when they are reacting instead of thinking. But I believe that when we approach my art with the level of integrity that African spirituality teaches, then we will be unified. We will be on the same page. We may have differences, but I don't think they're so far-fetched where there's conflict as it is in religion, because religion oftentimes has been tweaked for just a few people to benefit from it and the masses to stay under the control under the few. But spirituality is a little bit different, I think. That was a deep conversation last week, spirituality and religion. But for me, religion and my observation and my experience in this country has been it was tweaked. There are definitely principles there that we can apply to elevate us, to evolve us. But the majority of what was taught in the Abrahamic religions were to keep us bound, or at least to keep us in check. And it takes a lot of discipline to dissect what is applicable for you and what somebody else established.
I have a question. When you say tweak, tell me more.
Tweak is what the colonizers did in terms of the information that they saw in Christendom. I'm going to use that one because that's what I'm most familiar with. And how they saw the African presence in Christendom, how they saw specific principles that Africans were practicing, and they eliminated that, one, so that we could not be their equal, and two, so that they could still have control. Just like history, just like education, things have been tweaked or removed so the truth cannot prevail. And so it is with religion also. Things have been omitted so that people don't really know who they are.
Yeah, I think things have also been, what's the word I'm looking for? So you have things that were omitted, but you also, what's the opposite of omitted?
Contributed.
Yeah, there's things that were contributed. I had like an extra but-did on it. But I think when I hear like omitted, it almost, in my mind, consciously or subconsciously, almost assumes that there was something pure about it, or there was something almost holy and created by the deity, in a sense, not by man, and man omitted. Whereas I would probably argue that, not probably, I maintain that man created it, and not only omitted things to control you, but created things to control you. And I think Brother Parrish and you were like on the same page. I think the difference in that was, I think he said the stories definitely have some utility, or they do share certain things, certain themes even. But what happens is, I think what he was saying was that from his optic, if you hold fast to these things as if they're literal, many times they can cause issues. And I say that they work for people until they don't work anymore. They work for people until they don't work anymore. Because I never seen, please excuse my language, people as dumb as people who cannot get out the books. And what I mean by that, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Where your life is just, everything becomes what the Bible says. Everything becomes what the Quran, every little thing. And we're fighting each other about something that doesn't have any more power than we do.
But sometimes that's a perceived sense of power. Like, the more that you read about it, there's, I think, levels of consciousness. And to some extent, when you feel like you know something that other people don't know, it creates an air of superiority.
Yeah.
So, and then you're able to almost speak down to people, or to and I'm not making this a black-white thing. I'm saying everybody does that part. I think everybody does that. Like, if you get a little bit of information, and I'm not saying I'm saying everyone culturally does that. I'm not saying every individual does that. I want to make the distinction. But I do believe that feeling like you know something that other people do not know, I mean, even spreading the information is that sense of arrogance. it is the like. I'm sorry you don't know this. Let me go and show you the right way. You know what I mean? It inherently gives that superiority.
Complex.
Yeah. So I think people, especially marginalized people who don't otherwise have power, it's a rush. It's a bit of a rush. So I think it's not always just spiritual. Sometimes it's just psychological. It's like social.
Absolutely. It gives some of us a sense of identity. That's what I'm hearing. So in that identity, I'm more superior because I know it better. It's okay. I mean, but the thing is, what you know better is it's okay if you know it better. But when you believe every story, hook, line, and sinker, when you believe that you are the chosen, like Jewish people do a lot of times, there's a problem there. Like we overlook lots of things, and while a lot of wars have been fought and all these type of things due to people's literal interpretations of these texts. And then these wars are on a social level, but they actually show up in our households. And they show up in our households, and we want to talk about misogyny. Look, how do you talk about misogyny but still be applicable to the Bible?
Yeah.
You have to do a lot of mental gymnastics.
Can I say something?
Hold, Mama's going to you go.
Okay.
But I'm trying to get my thought. Come on back. And I believe that's where you have to examine what really is. You said the Jews. They're not really the Jews. They're
Ashkenazi.
Yeah, they're from Europe. And so anybody, even a child, could say, well.
So who are really the Jews?
The Jews are the people that were displaced who migrated from Africa and were in various places. And the people that we call the Jews today saw a political advantage to becoming Jews because they weren't anything at that time. We're talking about 13th, 12th century. And so they were faced with Islam, they were faced with Christianity, and they were faced with Judaism. Which one do we take?
All of it's fictive. But
okay. Yeah.
So
I'm just telling the story.
I'm just saying, because they'll argue about who the Jews are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
They will argue.
Everybody want to be the chosen one.
But there's been DNA proven.
I just want to be American. There ain't no DNA chosen who the Jews. Go ahead.
Now, wait a minute. Why not?
How you do
from that region? Let's say not even from the people group, but from that region. Okay. So if people have done testing on remains in that particular area, because who was living in that particular area before anybody?
Which area?
The Palestinians were.
Okay.
They were there initially before anybody started flooding the place. And so I'm saying if DNA was taken from those that are alive, as well as those remains that were in that area, the deceased, and the DNA matched, that gives us some type of clue about certain people's origins.
Yeah, quite like the Jewish people was enslaved and supposed to build the pyramids. That's what I'm saying. It's fictive. So when you talk about a created people, in a made up book, everybody would jockey for position to be the chosen ones.
And maybe not. Because there's a responsibility that goes with that. Unless you create another narrative.
Tell me more.
I don't think everybody wants to be the chosen people. And we can see that because a lot of the Ashkenazis are leaving what they've been practicing for generations.
You ever met people on the earth that don't in some sense, and when they get very become somewhat chosen?
I would say not necessarily chosen, but esteemed.
Whatever word we use.
I guess that's human nature.
You know what's funny about that? That goes for literally all people, because you can, there's one side that says, well, we have everything, we're chosen, and the other side that says, we're the meek shall inherit the earth, we're chosen. Or like the opposite perspective of like, well, the chosen ones are the ones who are oppressed. I've heard both of those arguments.
Yeah, these are just identities that people want to create for their own purposes.
But I'm thinking about it also, like part of that is if you don't have other means to build some level of pride, that also gives you a reason to fight for something sometimes
and oppress other people.
But exactly. I mean, I'm not saying it's the right way, but
what I'm hearing is, justification, but the reality is it's all made up.
That's back to that point I made earlier about taking things literally and how it can be dangerous if you subscribe to it and you just ignore logic based upon the book you follow, because that's your paradigm. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, you can make up anything.
Yep.
So I don't know if we can answer this or not. What existed before we started making things up as human beings?
We have no idea.
Ooh, I got an answer.
I say that.
I feel like I know what he's going to say. He's going to say nature. Are you going to say nature?
I didn't get a chance to think.
Oh man, I wanted.
Look, my brain ain't moving. I'm dealing with all the levels of allergies today. Like Brother Lowe said something though.
Oh no, I was gonna.
He always talking about
No, I mean two things. Like what, when you think about it, what is the advantage of being the chosen? People, it's also put with like it's stamped with like a timeline, because it was the benefit of being the chosen. If the people who believe in the book, was the benefit of being the chosen people good for the quote unquote Jews when they were enslaved in Egypt?
Were they really enslaved?
But I'm just saying, I'm using this as a point.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't see, again, I be trying not to talk about mythology as if it's real. But, so I be having to separate it. Are we talking about a story? We talking about reality?
So the point I'm trying to make is when people decide that they're the chosen, or they fall into this chosen thing, it's still a point it's a point in their life that it is validated in their mind that it's a reason to be doing. So that's why I said, what is the reason? Because now it's a time for people who quote unquote call themselves chosen, because in this contemporary world, it lends itself to some power. It lends itself to this esteem or whatever like that. But
yeah,
if those same people who believe that want to trace themselves back, like you were saying, DNA evidence or whatever like that, then you're going to trace yourself back to a time when the quote unquote people who you think is chosen people did not believe they were chosen. You know what I'm saying? They didn't believe that. Like, if the things going around them at that time did not lend to that. Now, the other point I was going to say is it's all allegory. It's like, it's just to make you feel good, and people been doing this stuff for years, but it's just, to me, it's just to make you feel good. It's no historical records. You can't go back and find historical records. And then the people who, like you said, Brother Fur, who claim that they know a little more, the minute you challenge them with that, then they instead of just saying, oh, well, let me think, they're just going to tell you, well, you just got to believe. You just believe. So it's like, it's no historical evidence. Like, these people claim to be in Egypt all these years, but in Egyptian history, you see none of this. So it's like,
see none of what?
The stuff that you hear from the Bible. There's no evidence in Egyptian and Kemetic history, like during these times. Like, they claim that these people were enslaved, and then built the pyramids, but the pyramids were built long before this timeline that the Bible gives. The timeline gives this timeline where all these people can kind of meet up in their own times and see each other. One story can lead to the next, and Moses
also took his staff and he parted the Red Sea and How many days did it take?
Yeah.
And how many people went over?
Well, they went through another thing is like they went through they went through the wilderness, but they telling us that they went through what is present day Jerusalem, which is no wilderness, it's desert. Now, if you want to get literal in terms, I guess desert. I don't know. I'm not a person who can say the wilderness is the desert, but then you have African people who say no, that what they went through was parts of Africa. So it's like it's all allegory. Like unless you see some historic, like you can go to certain beliefs systems or certain not even belief systems, cultural things, and find evidence of people. Like I don't want to go so far, but like people will tell you what a dinosaur like, and then you look at a Jurassic Park and be like, oh, that's a T-Rex. Oh, that's this, that, and other. There's no evidence of that. You know what I'm saying? It's just a story. Like when you hear a dinosaur roar, we don't know if that's the. It's just it's all excitement. It's in a story. So, we are pawns for that type of thing because we feel like we need guidance. Like, but in all sense, the natural sense of things is like you're going to be guided by what exists, like whatever exists. I keep saying that, like you exist in what exists. So that you don't need somebody to give that a name. You don't need somebody to say, oh, that's this or that's that.
I find that people find it really difficult to separate the mythology from the actual reality, and that's not just biblically. I'm talking about even when you talk to people about ancient Kemet, like a lot of people don't know the difference between Imhotep or a Dozier or versus a Asar or a Amenet or a those type of figures. They literally don't know how to disentangle them. Anybody have a problem with disentangling Asar from Naman Ra versus a Hatshepsut?
I can't say that I know all of those names, but I do understand the difference between the mythology that was practiced during the time and like the actual rulers of the time.
I can't hear you to that mic. I want to make sure is it on? Okay. I just want to make sure they can hear you online.
I was just mentioning that I can distinguish the difference between the rulers of the time and the mythological characters that I think in many cases were intended to teach allegory.
Okay. Well, returning to center, the part that I think really highlights and sums all up what I really want to articulate out of this write-up that Dr. Malona Karenga inserted before the chapters in the Hosea is that he says, moreover, given the inseparable link in ancient Egypt and other parts of Africa between the sacred and the secular. And that's what it kind of sums everything up, I'm saying, because there's this idea that we struggle with that spirituality looks like something outside of the way that we interact and engage with one another. What came to my mind this morning was spirituality without praxis is not spirituality. Yes. Just say practice. You want to say that again so they can hear you? Yeah. Both of y'all. Go ahead. 1, 2.
Relationship is essential to spirituality.
Relationships are essential to spirituality.
Human relationships.
All relationships.
Okay.
All relationships.
So our relationship with nature, all means all. Okay.
Yeah. All relationships. Mama and Daniel, I saw your eyes go up. You were thinking?
I was about to argue that.
Go ahead.
No, elaboration was perfect. It just shut down what I was going to say.
Oh, okay.
You said relationship with everything, including nature. Because I was going to say,
Including nature.
yeah, like everything.
But remember what I was arguing last week? Was it here
I
or
wasn't here
upstairs?
last week. Wait.
It was here. What I'm about to say? Pardon me. Today I can't get my words out as clear as I want to. So the argument I gave is that even in the way that we see things dichotomized, we always see things dichotomized. Like this idea, like which is is not African per se, because the thing is that we see ourselves outside of nature.
Do you mind defining dichotomized?
Somebody help me. My tongue ain't working that great today. But a dichotomy. Yeah, separated. Yes, it's separate. We see how minds instantly, and this is why we need to really continue, because our minds continuously separate things. But when we say we spiritual, we'll never say that. We'll say, well, when you're spiritual, we see things as all connected and interconnected, and we see future generations and the past, present, and future all at once. Nothing. There's no such thing as time, space is limit. We say all these things, but we struggle with actually having those things really mean something in our minds. So then we're going to struggle with how we actually practice it, because we say things like, when I see you, I see me. But is that true? Is that just another way? Is that really true? Is that really, again, we go to our default, which is to dichotomize things, separate things, split things, see it as separate than you, other than. Somebody give Mama Donnie a mic. I want to hear. I want to hear her. So let's start off with this. Out of the Book of Ptahhotep, it says, and we'll start with the first passage. It says, "Do not be proud." I think this goes with what we were talking about a little bit earlier. Do not be proud and arrogant with your knowledge. Consult and converse with the ignorant and the wise. For the limits of art are not reached. No artist ever possessed or possesses that perfection to which he should aspire. Good speech is more hidden than green stone emeralds, yet it may be found among maids at the grindstone. What I'm going to do to kind of make that make a little bit more sense, I'm going to go to the New English Translation. This is out of Who Said, the same verse. Be not arrogant because of your knowledge. Take counsel with the ignorant as well as with the wise. For the limits of knowledge in any field have never been set, and no one has ever reached them. Wisdom is rarer than emeralds, and yet it is found among the women who gather at the grindstone. Some of y'all introduced us a few weeks back, but how does that land? How does that land with you today?
There's no such thing as perfection. You can learn from a baby. You can learn from someone on a deathbed. Be humble. When you strive for perfection, a lot of problems could come from that. The feeling of disappointment of trying to attain something that's impossible can be torturous and can lead to insanity too.
You sure know how to lay them words on it, don't you?
Oh, we just saying.
Lord have mercy.
That's what I got from it.
Oh man! Well, say that again. So, all right.
Yeah. Yes, it can.
Say that again. I was trying to figure it out too. So striving for perfection can lead you to becoming insane.
It's you can't attain it
You got that out of that?
and more. But I wanted to see that part that I got out of it.
I mean, you know, look, one thing we know, we should have kept with the first one, talk about the artist, because you're definitely an artist.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, Mr. I think, go ahead. Come on.
I think that passage relates quite a bit to pride, definitely knowledge, but being grounded enough, and by that I mean not just self-aware, but aware of others around you, where you can respect receiving as well as giving from anyone. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
I agree with Parrish.
Thank you.
Just like people want to assume that because a person is an elder that they're wise. That don't mean that's true, because the more I think and the more I see, the more I know I don't know. I just want to say I don't know. But and I think if you really striving for perfection, then you just gonna keep going up and 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 up this ladder, finding newer things and older and older and older.
You agree with his sentiments. You agree with his sentiments. I'm not sure if you agree that of the interpretation of the verse.
That was just one of many, but I wanted to use that one.
Well, I mean, I get it, but I think this is not. I don't think this verse is saying not to strive for perfection.
Saying be humble.
Yeah.
It's saying don't be arrogant about what you know. Don't think that makes you better than other people, better than anybody else. You know, I think just like so many people take the Bible, for instance, and when they get into an argument or debate or whatever, they think that because I can say the Bible says so, that's supposed to be the end of the argument. You know, there's no other thing you can say to me that, you know, wins that argument or that makes what you're saying true.
Yeah.
And one thing when you were first asking that I was thinking about was when you were saying that following the virtues of Ma'at or whatever leads you, the person who follows them best knows that their days on earth would be longer. You know, I think there's probably some place in the Bible that has a similar thing. But a lot when I think about it, though, a lot of Christians, especially in their songs, they're always talking about when I see God. Like that's the prize, not like living their days on earth, longer days on the earth is the prize. It's more like when I see God. So does that mean, you know, death is really the real reward, to stop having to go through the struggles, to stop having to fight every day to try to figure out what's right and what's wrong, just gonna be done with.
I think it's what I gather is that wisdom is, or knowledge is limitless. So you can find it in anything or any person, like or you know, like, and then when it's saying don't be arrogant, you know, it's wisdom and knowledge is subjective, so it's no way that you can rate it, you know. So just because you know what you know, you don't know what the other, you don't particularly know. I mean, you know what the other person know, and it could be the lowest of or anything. I mean, it could be anybody. Just because you know doesn't mean you know what they know, and it doesn't mean what you know is the quintessential, the right thing or the perfect thing. So I just think, I gather that wisdom is limitless, you know.
Yeah, I have Okay, so going back, I think Mama Danu kind of posed the question. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was rhetorical or not. But the way I see that first part is when I think about our ancestors and you cross-reference that with other things as far as us living our life longer on earth, it's kind of like when we lift ourselves up in libation. We like you will be forever remembered. If you live by my yacht, your name will always be called. Hence, you'll always live. You'll always be brought into the space. But it says live my yacht. It's another part of this very same book that speaks about that. Living a life where you will be honored in libation. I also see that as when I look at be not arrogant because of your knowledge. I don't think that I think I will probably diverge a bit, and not saying that it's subjective. I think it can be quantified depending on it can be like, not depending on how you define knowledge. But I think it's saying be open, continue to know, be open to learn. It's almost like when you look at some other cultures, it's like you could think you've reached the pinnacle of knowledge, but live every day with what some Eastern traditions may call beginner's mind. Learn from your engagement, learn from your interactions. I think it says seeking. It's also not saying not to. What I would probably suggest, it's not saying not to seek to be perfect. It's just saying you'll never get there. So keep moving, keep going, strive, knowing that there's always more that you can do. There is then also I want to kind of deal with what Mama and Danu said. This idea of if we really listen to this would say that I don't know everything. As an elder, to me, as an elder, this allows me to be a little bit more comfortable, because this very verse is saying that you can find knowledge everywhere. You can find wisdom everywhere, and you have not reached it, and you will never reach it. So then we won't have these expectations that others have reached it. So then it can give yourself a little break, because the fact that acting like you reached it is a very hard task. But then going back to what we spoke about earlier, when we spoke about even doesn't everybody become arrogant in their knowledge and understanding? And isn't it what these Western traditions teach? This tradition right here is saying, be not arrogant because of your knowledge. Take counsel with the ignorant as well as with the wise. For the limits of knowledge in any field have never been set, and no one has ever reached them. Wisdom is rarer than emeralds. So it doesn't say everybody can have wisdom. I think that's another thing too. It doesn't say everybody has wisdom. It says it's rarer than emeralds. And yet it is found among the women who gather at these places where you think it may not be found.
Even though it doesn't say everybody has wisdom, how can we say what is wisdom? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how can we? That's what I'm saying. It's limitless. Like, how can we say if someone says something, it'll be us being critical of their wisdom of what they know. It doesn't mean it's not right or it's wise or anything, because some people are wise. Like for instance, people are book wise. And they could go through all these.
They call that book smart.
Book smart, yeah.
That's
so
the
people can be book smart, right? And they go through all these levels of being book smart, and they get these credentials. And people tend to rate their wisdom on their book smarts. But then you have people who, I use this. I'm keep using the example. People live amongst the land. They know how the land works. They know when they see birds fly that it means this, it means that. If you don't know that, how wise are you than them? I mean, they're wise to that stuff.
Well, I think there's probably a difference on how you're defining wisdom. Most of the time when I hear us in these type of circles speak about wisdom, we speak about what? Wisdom is what?
Learned experiences,
Applied.
knowledge.
Yes. So when you look at it, I think you can measure it, because you can have people who read to certain degrees of anything, and then you could obviously see how these things are manifesting in people's lives. What decisions have they made?
See, but then that's a westernized way of thinking. That's how I look at it. Like, it's because we're utilizing one fraction of the idea of obtaining the knowledge, and that is how much they've read, how much they've done this. So
who did that?
I mean, we just said, you said when we talked about it, we said it. Repeat what you just said.
You come.
No, I'm just saying, because
I said applied knowledge.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
So that has nothing to do with read.
Yeah, so applied knowledge.
But it doesn't exclude read.
Yeah, it doesn't exclude. So when the applied knowledge is still of who actually is witness to, who's experienced that knowledge. Like if you have never experienced these people, these other people, this other thing that they're wise of, then we can't say that it's not wisdom.
Who would say that though?
I'm just saying, I'm just making my point. I didn't say anybody was saying. I'm saying you can't say that.
No,
I don't know who is. I'm just saying you can't say.
Okay.
Who can't say it? Whoever who is.
So because what you said was the way that I guess whatever was articulated was a Western way of looking at it, and you said because that'd be the book knowledge or something like that, and then so it's like I don't think that these things are separate. I don't think these things are separate. I think there's some level of perhaps compartmentalization going on here, because wisdom again in that culture becomes applied knowledge. It's not like the applied knowledge stays here. The applied knowledge is wherever it is. The people in the tribe, let's say, the people in the small community who has that knowledge and who has applied it in a way that they said this one is a wise one. Yeah. So it's not like, so I think our mind is like, you're not fighting me because I'm not saying that. Get the mic, man.
I took that. That's what I took. So I apologize for that, because that's exactly what I thought was going on. So, but that's why my initial thing was, like I said, like knowledge and wisdom is limited. Like and that's what I kind of gathered from it. But I get it what you're saying now. It's applied knowledge. It's applied. No matter, even the examples that I get is that wisdom is applied. People actually look to it and they follow it. So it's definitely a problem.
So in a more traditional sense, the elders are looked at as the wise ones. Why? And they've gone through that process, right? So again, it's this natural sense for us to compartmentalize things. Go ahead, Bob. Bro.
I'm trying not to compartmentalize things.
No, I appreciate the compartmentalize, because the whole thing is to go through this dialectical process of having these conversations. Because the thing is not our brains naturally go to this or that. And when I'm speaking about, I'm trying to be as clear as I can. So applied knowledge doesn't stop here. And I think the reason why also, let me tell you why I put a little pushback to it, is because then there will be no, you have to be able to contextualize or measure the wise ones. So in the sense, the elders, but it doesn't mean the elders don't learn from the children. It doesn't mean all of these things, but we do, like in a natural hierarchy, we understand that our elders become the wise ones. So if we don't do that, then it's kind of like what we're dealing with right now. Everybody knows, everybody think everybody see, because we are misunderstanding smart or intellect with wisdom. And there's different, because you got all types of people who know information out here, and that is what people go on the internet for. But how do you apply it? That's a difference.
Wisdom is rightly applied knowledge, whether it's in a book or studying nature.
That's how I would use it in this sense right here.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think it's very dangerous, and I often hear people say things like, everybody does, but there still is those who've gone through the trial, those who've gone through the initiation, those who've gone through the rite of passage, those who have, who apply these things. There is a need for people to usher you through. Hold up, mama. Say, then you what? And then they help you through. Then you get the
Ashe.
yeah. All that hard work didn't go in vain, because process. She said, when you get dementia and Alzheimer's, and if that's the case, you've done a good work for those who've come behind you to usher you into ancestorhood,
And those who that's an interesting note though, because also let's say someone does get dementia, the life that they live isn't unlived, so they still have planted seeds and helped people and done things that the seeds that they plant, somebody else is going to be able to experience that shade, even if it's just a mentorship, or even if it's like, the groundwork of just raising a family or whatever it is. Like, nothing goes without vain. I mean, nothing goes in vain, I think,
Yeah.
So if you are living in Maya and you do a good job, I think it's, Dr. Winker said earlier, like, the people will remember that, and directly and indirectly. And, as bringing it in full circle, when we pour libations, we also say the unnamed ancestors, because they still matter. Not everybody's always going to be named. Actually, no, it's almost impossible to name everybody. It's impossible to name everybody. So, just understanding that it's collective.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I second that. I mean, whether you get dementia or Alzheimer's or whatever, the wisdom doesn't die as long as somebody took something from it and I was able to share it. So the wisdom doesn't diminish, when the physical diminishes. The wisdom carries on, or the knowledge carries on, until somebody decides not to share or let it carry on. So that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. As long as you pass on the baton.
as long as you pass it. Yeah. So next verse. If you meet a debutant in the heat of action, one who is more powerful than you, simply fold your arms like Mom and Danu and bend your back. To confront him will not make him agree with you. Pay no attention to his evil speech. If you do not confront him while he is raging, people will call him an ignoramus. Your self-control will be the match for his evil utterances. I'm going to go down to two more verses. This is one with more power. The second one says this: if you meet a debutant in action, one who is your equal, one who is on your level, you will overcome him by being silent while he is speaking evilly. There will be much talk among those who hear, and your name will be held in high regard among the great. The third one. If you meet a debutant in action who is a poor man and who is, I'm sorry, that's disputant. If you meet a disputant in action who is a poor man and who is not your equal, do not attack him because he is weak. Leave him alone. He will confound himself. Do not answer him, just so that you can relieve your own heart. Do not vent yourself against your opponent. Wretched is he who injures a poor man. If you ignore him, listeners will wish to do what you want. Let me say that again. If you ignore him, listeners will wish to do what you want. You will beat him through their reproof. Where y'all books at? Oh, you want me to say it again? Oh, on the other verse, they might have it kind of spelled. Oh, you want the new something translation?
I can.
If you do not confront him while he is raging, people will call him an ignorant.
You know, one of the things I'm pulling from this is on all levels of the social ladder, and thinking about like that first part, right, which was essentially be humble and receive information from all places. And then if you find someone who is an aggressor, like as if you're arguing with them and they have more power than you, cross your arms. Okay. You know, let it be water off your duck's fat. Don't overthink it and, you know, let it be. And then also, if you meet someone who is on your level, it's essentially the same advice. Like, there's no need to argue. You know, you're overcoming them by being silent. And even if they're speaking evenly, so if someone's arguing with you, don't give it any. If somebody is speaking evenly and they're on your level, still, you don't need to respond. And then if you find somebody who is lower than you, they say a poor man, but I'm just assuming that this means lower. And then they also say weak. So that could be of meager status, or, you know, maybe it's a financial thing, maybe it's I'm not sure. I just assume that you have some power over them.
Mm-hmm.
That it's really no, can I say it in a more modern term? It's no flex to stomp on them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you should also stay quiet in that moment. And when you ignore him, the listeners will do what you want, assuming that you have some type of status over them, and assuming that maybe the listeners are on equal or lower level. But I think that through this, what they're really saying is definitely listen more than you speak. As you know, from the first part to the fourth, it's like a similar theme.
I say. So we, Brother Los, I'm forgetting that we kind of discussed these up the last gathering. So, Mama, you remember it? Yeah, all of them.
Sunday.
Hold on, you gotta get the mic.
What is past Sunday?
No, it's Monday.
Monday.
Mm-hmm, Monday, yeah.
But from what I can recall,
Mm-hmm.
is it's dealing with knowledge, it's dealing with stature in life,
Mm-hmm.
and how really we are all the same. And so don't allow arrogance to enter any type of communication, because you can learn from a woman grinding at the millstone. You know?
Yeah.
And I think people that are in governance and religion, they have a tendency to select, well, these are the people that know and y'all don't know. And these are the people that can rule, but y'all can't. And what this is saying is that anybody can if they're open, really. They're not saying open, but to equate it to our conversation today, that it's possible for anybody to give knowledge and wisdom and understanding if you have the humility to accept it.
Right. So now going on to if you meet a disputant in the heat of action, one who is more powerful than you, simply fold your arms and bend your back.
Say, don't argue with a fool, because then you're reduced to that level.
To confront him will not make him agree with you.
Right.
Pay no attention to his evil speech. If you do not confront him while he is raging, people will call him an ignoramus. Mm-hmm. Your self-control will be the match for his evil utterances.
The match.
That's a nice one.
Yeah.
Your self-control will be the match.
Right.
Anything they say?
No one gets anything from two people arguing out of rage anyway. It's just a headache and no one wants to really be around it.
Exactly.
So it introduces the energy where I don't even want to be a part of it. I don't even care what you're talking about at this point. That's how I look at it. Right.
And then the second one is more about people on your level. If you meet a disputant in action, one who is equal. Now, let's go back to the one is over topic, because it's easy for those, especially if we believe those people have something over us, for us to become way more reactive, especially if we have authority issues.
Yeah.
And I would argue in our community, a lot of us have authority. Let's deal with that.
Yeah.
A lot of us have authority problems with authority, and then we ask, why can't we build organizations?
We have the time to unpack that.
Yeah, let's talk. We don't have a lot of time, but we do have some time.
I'll be real brief. I don't necessarily have problems with organizational authority as I did familiar authority, and it's because I saw familiar authority abused.
Mm-hmm.
But I can submit. I can submit to familiar authority now,
Mm-hmm.
because I was able to confront my resistance to authority. But it was interesting because I would be more accepting of organizational authority than I would in my own house.
Let me see something. Let me give you a Njia. Say it again, Mama.
Money connected to it.
Yeah, money connected to it. So let's deal with that. I don't believe you, but
You never believe me. You never believe me.
No. So all that other stuff you said, all the other stuff I said I agree with you about. Now you said I never see. That's coming in real time. You see, but
Okay.
I don't believe her. But but no. What in Njia we say, one of the things I say is every relationships are relationships are relationships. Y'all remember that?
So it's one and the same. But
You don't find yourself reacting. Yes, you don't find it. It's nobody. I promise you, unless it's just a very unhealthy situation, just in general. Like, but for the most part, if you have an issue with authority somewhere, you will find that follows you wherever you go. Now, you might be able to deal with one, especially if it has rewards, as Mama and Danu said. Then you might, you hold your breath a lot because you get a good old paycheck maybe or what have you, but you still struggling behind the doors, then you go home and you show some authority, right? Like you go home and take it on your family. But typically people are people, they're who they are. When they go places to varying degrees, it shows up. It's like you can deal with somebody that you only have to meet once a month, once a week. You can hold your breath. But when you go home with that person, that's a whole nother thing. But it definitely shows up. I would challenge that just a bit. But how do we get there though about authority?
Let's unpack authority. And
authority, yeah.
Resistance to authority.
Yeah, Brother Fur, thank you. You wanted to unpack that. Let me just say this while he get his thoughts together. In our community, due to our history, thank you. I really need that today. We have authority issues a lot of times because we are very sensitive to one in our minds thinking they have power, or we believe that a person thinks they're better than, and all that type of thing. So we kind of gravitate towards anarchy. We like anarchy, and anarchy doesn't fit African culture. Because African culture is culture. It means there's order, there's rules to this thing. It's to keep us out of chaos. But when we've been oppressed by others in our lives, we've already oppressed by the system to a degree. I mean, whether or not you want to agree with that terminology, just follow me. But then when you've experienced it from parents or your partner or your whomever, in fact, it starts as a child. Then you become reactive to what reminds you of that. We essentially talked about that a little bit earlier today, scenario, Mama. Because he or she that reminds you of that person in your life that you thought had too much power and control over you, triggers you in a sense. And as an adult, you don't want to be in that situation ever again. Even though this person is just doing, this person just becomes what Dr. Gregory calls an opportunity. It's not necessarily the person, it's just another opportunity for us to be triggered. It was some people here, Tina, let me see how I explain this. And I became the problem. And I realized I had to tell a person, look, y'all might need to step back. And the reason why you have to step back, you looking for the restaurant? Oh, it's closed on Sundays. All right, no problem. So thank you, Mama. You think I already know that this person's not going to be able to deal with my personality once they see that I'm a bit assertive. Anything, it doesn't matter. Or if I'm trying to do business, you're just not going to be able to deal with it. It doesn't matter how gentle I am. I can be very gentle, mindful. But because this, in their mind, you ain't better than me, but it ain't that a person thinks they're better than you. Just in your mind, this person represents some authority figure that you have actually vowed that you would never have anybody be over you in a sense, in that way. And then you join organizations, or you act like you want to join an organization, or whatever it is. As Mama and Danu said, you can go to work and deal with that, although you ain't dealing with it well. But you damn sure ain't gonna do it in no Black Power movement, because then you'll say, I ain't getting paid for that. I ain't getting paid for that. And I think we should deal with this because it is in us. And we get triggered. And I can hear it even in the language when we talk, like when I'm reading these chapters and stuff, and I can hear the responses. It's so subconscious. Like I can hear the authority issue from your interpretations of things. You know what I mean? Go ahead, Mama. You about to say something? I can hear it. Like I told you, Mama, a few weeks ago, I said, people tell you everything when they talk. So, hold on. Testing. So it's there, and I see it. It's in this room even, but I see it, and I'm gentle to it to a degree. But I will say it again. The fly. Oh, okay. Look, thank you for the ritual. If it was just that easy, do it again. Do it 3 times. We have a lot of healing to do. We have a lot of healing to do. And part of the reason why many of us don't join organizations is because of that. And the first thing that comes to our mind, who are you? It's just the little chip coming. Who do you think you are? The type, you know, it's like you know what goes on in your mind. Why you gotta be right all the time? Well, like, you know, it's like it's I hear it in our conversation.
So I wonder when I first left Njia, was it because I was surrounded by men and I kind of felt edgy about that, or if it was what I told you. I didn't think I could keep up with it and all the technology I had to deal with it. I wonder if that was a front for not being real, because I want to be better. Was that a front because all this masculine energy was here, and then I would have to submit to a masculine teacher?
Is it masculine authority?
Yeah, I don't have no problems with women like that. They usually have problems with me, but
You didn't normally have problems with you.
Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be that. And again, we get our, what do they call it? We have our, it becomes opportunity. So again, I had to ask this person, I said, that ain't gonna work. I love you, but that ain't gonna work. I mean, because I will always be your problem, and I don't want to be the problem between you and your partner.
So I would have to say then it really was the work, because I'm very happy to be surrounded by these brothers. As I learn a lot, I'm happy that
we wasn't talking about you though.
I know that, but I'm going back to me. I'm being a little selfish right now because I'm processing what you're saying and applying it to myself.
It could be more than one thing though.
I understand that, but right now we talking about.
You asked me a question,
okay.
Didn't you? Yeah. Right. So, but I'm talking to her, and she's still showing, and I'm still talking to her, and she getting frustrated because I'm still dialoguing with her.
So,
did you see all that?
I did. It came out. Let me go open the door again.
Hey. Did I give her all that? I didn't look, you know what I'm saying? That's what I was talking about the other day. You know what I'm saying? I didn't give you all that. It was just I'm a man. You got your question answered. No matter. No. You know, but I mean, I get it, but it can't be all that. I mean, you could be right. I don't know. Let me say that, but it's there. If that was the question, if that was the reason or not. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for just being always a great example of how that thing looks in real time. You had something yet?
I mean, I always got something. I'm always trying to be thoughtful.
Okay, then we're gonna close it off with you in this round right here.
So, problems with authority, right? I can admit, and I can see that. I'm sure it happens with a lot of people, because there's a vulnerability to having to let go of control, and there's also a trust that has to be there. And you know, I think historically we either, well, I don't want to say we, I'm gonna use myself because I can't speak for everybody, right? But I trust, and then I'm like, nope, not again, right? So it's hard to get back to that space of like, okay, well, is someone gonna lead you the right direction? And that's, for me, I'm to be honest, it's not a man or woman thing. It's like a people thing. It's a character thing more than anything. And you know what I do, bringing it all back, because I'm all about full circle, right? So bringing it back, I think that in certain doctrine, in certain religion, people can say, well, this is you practice this, I practice this. Okay, there's some agreed upon norms in how we interact, and then that allows us to do business, or that allows us to communicate, to have community, to work together, to live next to each other, because I at least know some basic expectations of how I'm doing things and how you're going to be doing things, because you're going to be my neighbor, or you're going to interact with me, or you're going to interact with my kids, or your kids are going to interact with my kids, right? And you know, I think it's also important, as we bring it full circle, to consider that in Mayat and in African sovereignty, all of those norms exist also. I think it's just identifying those norms in a way that is cohesive. So it's like, okay, well, what this looks like is, you know, I can feel comfortable. And, you know, I think that also deals with the authority part. Maybe not authority directly, but like, can I feel comfortable with someone else practicing their thing next to me, and just know that we're still, you know, we can work together, right? My stream of consciousness is going. I'm trying to reel it back in, but I'm trying to tie it back together. But I think self-discipline and living by a thoughtful approach to life can be created and can be observed in all of African culture. And, you know, that's what we're striving for, I guess. African sovereignty.
So walk in my yacht with balance, truth, and divine alignment. Let's stop there. Then it goes say, it says, what it say? I rise in discipline. And what's the next one?
I heal with courage.
I heal with courage. And I say, let's stop right there. So I heal with courage. It's not about just me. I mean, others. It's about me healing myself in courage. Because the thing in Njia, in the framework, is this, in the book that I'm writing, it's called The Refusal to Be Traumatized. Because the act of not trusting other people because of past experiences is the act of traumatization. It is the act of traumatizing, keeping yourself in a perpetual process of feeling traumatized, of being traumatized. To engage with people you never met in ways as if you've been hurt, or not to trust them, or not. I'm not saying go in there with your nose all wide open. What I am saying is, but if they are triggering you, or you say, I ain't dealing with people when I'm cutting off, or I'm trying and I'm seeing, so even if I'm with them, because that's the thing, you can be around people, but not really be fully vulnerable with them in a sense, or vulnerable to a degree that is really authentic.
Okay, I want to ask you a question. And I don't want to go too far into a tangent, but at what point is applied wisdom and refusing to be traumatized? Where's the intersection of that? Because you learn an experience, you now apply the wisdom to not go through that experience again, but also the refusal to be traumatized is to reject the previous experience and approach it with a beginner's mind.
So applied, let me just answer it. I don't know if I'm answering the right way, but again, is the applied part, I think, is that you learn a lesson from your previous experience. And then the wisdom part would be to, if you now act on the lesson learned. So that means that you will change the way you. So, for example, if you went into a relationship and you just gave, and didn't receive, then you become a little frustrated when that person bounce on you. Now you can choose to be traumatized or refuse to be traumatized by engaging with people. You can be traumatized by saying, I ain't dealing with people no more. Or I'm not going to do nothing with people in this way anymore. Or you can learn the lesson and say, you know what? I can do this, but these are the changes I have to make. So that's part of that healing with courage. These are because making those changes are very difficult because you even have to change how you've done things before. And that takes courage because people around you are not going to like it. And you have to go through the act of people not liking things you're doing. And you might not even like it. But you know that instead of being traumatized, say, I'm not going to do a thing with people anymore. These are the parameters I can do them. And I can do them within these parameters. Meaning that I'm going to do the thing, but at the same time, I am not going. In fact, the other part of Njia is not just to refuse to be traumatized, but not to be a pedestalized victim. Because in that case, you can say, well, I've been victimized and not learn a lesson and go around and do these things over and over again, the same way you've done them and continue to point fingers at people, but not realize you have to change something about the way you're doing the thing. So the refuse to be traumatized, the refuse to be a pedestalized victim, because this culture allows people to put their victim, to wear their victim
like a badge of honor.
Yes. I wanted to put something else on the other side of the word, thing close up, that victimhood, a victim something as a badge of honor.
A victim brand.
What does it look like? What does that look like? Oh, I'm sorry, pardon.
Someone is pedestalized.
Pedestalized victim. Most people in our society. And what I mean by that is most of us have been pedestalized, well, victims for a little, in some degree. But pedestalized is like, I'll give you an example of what it looks like. It's like when you talk to people and they can tell you all of what people have done to them. And people feel so sorry for them. I mean, and it's rightfully so to a degree. But it's like you never can ask them what they need to do differently. It's almost like a pedestalized victim is an attention hoarder. I need attention. I need people to know that what other people have done to me. And they never really tell the other part of the story lots of times. And I don't even know if they really know the other part of the story lots of the times.
So it's a repeated story that gets you attention from others.
We love the attention of being a victim. Even you have identities that do that. I think that the whole liberal way of looking at things pedestalizes victims and actually has us fighting against one another. It's like this gender war that we see in our community. Men saying it's about women, women saying it's about men, and none of them are looking at themselves and saying, you know what? What did I do, and what do I need to do differently? They can demonize each other, but the part for me, Brother Lewis, take a little bit. So if this is no, that's me. Yeah, it's a little. So, but thank you. So the they don't even look at the system and how they've been set up to be pitted against each other. But in the system rewards that. Look, like the system rewards you being a victim. It's like, okay, thank you. When people like, I just give you an example and we'll wrap it up. But it's like when you go places and you just say, I don't feel seen. And typically it's an aspect of the identity that is different than others around you. I don't feel seen. I don't feel heard. I don't feel this. When I was here, like example, I'll give you an example. I had a student who used to be at a white school, and they said they didn't feel seen as their blackness. But then they come to an African American school, and they say, my queerness is not seen. And then my woman, me being a woman is not seen, or me not being a male is not being seen, or me being a midget is, so it's like it never ends. And the reality is we all can do that. We can all say, it's not, and I think it is something. So what do you, I mean, that's truth to, there's something that needs to be articulated, right? But rather than articulating it, it becomes more of a victim thing. Like if I'm a male and I walk up in a room with a bunch of women and I feel like they're not dealing with male issues, I can say, I don't feel seen, or I can say, can we talk about these things? Or like, I can make that a victim. I can make myself a victim.
Or you go to another room. Or you go to another room.
But if I go to the other room, because that ain't the room I want to be in, and go to the other room and talking about that room.
No, but I'm not saying.
No, I got it. I got what you're saying. Or you can, but sometimes you can't. So we got to really deal with that too.
Okay.
Because I don't think we exclude people's realities, right? I think it's about being inclusive. It's the way that you approach it, though. Because lots of times, what it causes, I'm not seen. I don't feel seen. And so somebody has to be the problem outside of you. None of us are fully ever going to be seen. That's my argument. Because there's aspects of all of us that feel like it's not being recognized. But so what do you have to do to be more fully appreciated? Sometimes you got to do something in your mind, and sometimes you got to do something with your lips. Sometimes you got to do something with both. What I mean by lips, you got to talk about it. You got to speak about it and bring it to people in a way that we actually can have dialogue around this and do some work around this. And sometimes it's really in your mind. But it's okay if it's in your mind. Bring that up too. Because the reality is this is how a person feels, and now we can have dialogue to deal with that. Because the reality is in our minds when we've been victimized or we're pedestalized victims, it's something more comfortable about being a victim than actually solving the problem.
Ashe.
You funny. Well, go ahead, close us out, brother Fred, with that. When you shaking it,
Asheo.
So the thing is, because to confront the issue is more work than complaining. Because complaining requires you to set boundaries and make changes. And we don't want to make changes. We'd rather point the finger. Again, keep in mind, it doesn't mean the thing ain't happening. But everybody's going to overlook people or not be able to consider certain aspects about other people. Like right now, I have to go to the bathroom. Like that's why it's also essential that our elders do talk to us. Let me go back to the knowledge piece and the wisdom. It's because they've been there before. There's some very basic, simple things that I've never been 50 yet. We don't have to be all that deep. Talk about things. One thing I like about Dr. Henry Gregory is he kind of warns you in his own little unique ways. He said, "Oh, you're 40 now. Oh yeah, the body started changing a little bit." Yeah. And I went to the doctor and I got my first prescription. You're like, what? Oh, but if he had not told me that, if he had not shared certain things with me, I probably wouldn't have been prepared. I wasn't prepared, but because but the thing was though, it did help me though. Like, okay, and then I talked to him about it. Then they said, "Oh yeah, when you get 50," he said, well, hold on. I said something about my father. I was like, yeah, my father, I can't, it's about remembering some things. And he's like, oh yeah, when you're over 50. So he he talks like that in a sense, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then sometimes it allows us to know that we ain't the only ones going through a thing. And it also prepares us to really, for those to come behind us to know this is a part of the process. Sometimes we think we got to be extra deep, but we are experts in what we've experienced. So again, I guess we'll close out like this. Be not arrogant because of your knowledge. Take counsel with the ignorant as well as with the wise, for the limits of knowledge in any field has never been set, and no one has ever reached them. Wisdom is rarer than emeralds, and yet it is found among the women who gather at the grindstones. Ashe,
Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe.
So we're gonna finish off with 7 Harambes. If we can all stand and put our black fists in the air. All right, coming down with each Harambe. Ready? Harambe, 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 Harambe.
I see you, Los. Don't be trying to do it like that, man. I was like, look,
I just go where the trade wind blows, sending love to my friends and foes, and I suppose I'm pleased to be chilling in the West Indies. I provide all my wants and needs. I got the sunshine, rivers and trees. Wait.
When me see Jah, me see a way. Drastically straight from hypocrisy, I say, hey. Every man to them own a philosophy. I live the proper way and then me read a chapter daily. Man, they in a city hungry and no eat. And food they down a country, just a drop off of the tree then. You see say poverty no real then, is what the reason revealing.
Who knows? I just go where the trade wind blows, sending love to my friends and foes. And I suppose I'm pleased to be chilling in the West Indies. I provide all my wants and needs. I got the sunshine, rivers and trees. Yeah.
When the rain hit a pot on the roof, herb just a steam pepper pot on the stew. Like it's a dream if you got gratitude. So go tell the regime them can't stop what we do now. Information you think on your own, or else you're a slave to the things that you know. What do you know if you learn every day? So be careful of things where you say.
Who knows? I just go where the trade wind blows, sending love to my friends and foes. And I suppose I'm pleased to be chilling in the West Indies. Jah provide all my wants and needs. I got the sunshine, rivers and trees. Believe.
Africa in our soul, but a Jah in our heart. It is of importance for I and I gather. If we cannot show now a balance that we had, how do we propose then to carry it abroad? Then I go to Ethiopia and you not have a plan. The building of a nation and a helper on. Every one a lover, one a man is just a man. It shall be a coronation when we land.
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? I just go where the trade wind blows.
Yeah, man.
Sending love to my friends and foes.
Hello.
And I suppose
Hello.
I'm pleased to be chilling in the West Indies. I provide all my wants and needs. I got the sunshine, rivers and trees. Really well.
And I say we just
Who
move
knows?
it
Who
on.
knows?
Yeah, man.
Who knows, babe?
We just move with time.
I'm pleased
And give
to
thanks,
be
you know.
chilling in the West Indies.
You see that smile on me, man.